When Elul hits that runway and they play the Jewish music, I think everybody gets that special feeling in their heart, like, you know what? I'm home. I'm home. This is where we're supposed to be. This is where Jews belong.
To be by the Kotel for the first time, you hear children laughing, you hear people davening, you hear Hebrew around you all the time, and that's the language of the Torah.
People become hungry for knowledge while they're in Israel, and the more you learn and the more you know, the more you want to do it.
You see Judaism coming to life, and it brings you back to the true meaning of existence.
The Kotel is always very warm. It's very warm, and to me that's a feeling of Hashem's right here. It's Yerushalayim, and you're home. And I think everyone feels like they are home. When that Elul hits the runway JFK, there's a feeling of depression. There's a feeling of, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is not where I belong. We belong on the other end of the world. We belong in Eretz Yisrael.
Becoming Baal Tshuva is a process. It's not an experience that you have. It's not a one-time thing. It's an everyday struggle.
It's easy to be an Orthodox Jew in a yeshiva environment. It's easy to be an Orthodox Jew in a bubble. It's much more difficult coming back into secular society where all of our friends that we grew up with are not observant, where our parents don't seem to understand us, where the dating process is a now entirely new experience and is very foreign to us, where our total outlook on life in general has shifted.
Typically a person goes to their friends and family for support when they're going through like a dramatic life-changing metamorphosis, so to say. Like, this is a person, the guy was becoming more religious, doing things that typical high school, public school students don't do. And I expected to be able to go to my friends and family and to be like patted on the back, you know, but I wasn't getting support. I was getting like, oh, you're a fanatic, you're nuts, like, what are you doing?
Can you imagine taking a piece of bacon, let's say with cheese on it? What do you think the first experience would be putting that in your mouth? Times that by 1,000, and that's the experience that a Baal Tshuva feels coming from the spiritual womb of Jerusalem and landing in the harsh reality of what this world is, where not only has everything you've lived with and every law you've lived by changed, you now have to swim in the ocean of the world to survive and keep your head above water. Add those two things together, the pressure is absolutely immense. Absolutely immense.
Hashevaynu helps the Baal Tshuva continue his and her growth process in every way to become a healthy, productive, complete member of the Orthodox Jewish community.
The focus of Hashevaynu is really continuity. Continuity of keeping that flame alive for all the participants who are now coming back to a cold and empty environment of New York City and the tri-state area.
They specifically choose not to charge for any of the programs. Only for specific ones that obviously costed a certain amount, because they really want to make everybody feel like they're part of a family. Not only that, but there's a certain warmth and a certain a feeling that somebody's out to take care of you.
Hashevaynu is basically, in its simplest form, it's a family. Hashevaynu is a big family that brings people together who may not otherwise have come together through the natural course of events, and it enriches everybody's lives.
Hashevaynu is a dynamic organization that changes people's lives, enhances people's lives. It allows them to grow and to fulfill their dreams.
We do not wait for the person to call us because they need us, because we have to go and reach out to them. And I will call, and Hashevaynu will call. We will meet them, we will do anything possible to make that connection. If I could, I would be at Kennedy Airport meeting everybody.
The weekends were the part of the week that I hated the most. You know, everybody in my family, all the kids, I have a bunch of brothers and sisters, and we hated Shabbos. I just thought it was just this bad day of the week that Jewish people had that you had to do, and it was miserable, and it was cold, and it meant sitting at a table when you didn't want to. And it was a real burden.
I absolutely love Shabbos. I don't have a clue how I could live without Shabbos. I feel sad for people that do not have Shabbos. A keystone of the Hashevaynu philosophy is loving other Jewish people and not being judgmental. And therefore, when someone comes to my home for Shabbos or to another Hashevaynu family's home for Shabbos, right away, they will sense a feeling of belonging, acceptance, and being part of the family.
There's no other experience, Shabbat experience, like the one at the Zakatinskys. There is such an energy here. And all of a sudden, Shabbat does not become, about counting down until it's over.
Hashevaynu puts life to Shabbos. There is life in Shabbos, in Hashevaynu.
Trying to create a place that people can feel comfortable. And you can feel that you belong, and you can feel that you're welcome. Because there's nothing worse than feeling alone. I mean, there's nothing worse than feeling that you're walking this path alone.
I want to have Shabbos in my house because I see what the Zakatinskys do, and I see how they have guests every week. That's what I want to do. And I want people to feel like they're also welcome somewhere for Shabbos, because I know how much that can do for somebody, because I know how much it did for me. If it wasn't for Shabbos in this house, there's a good chance that I wouldn't be religious today.
My kids know, actually, when somebody walks in, one of them will automatically go to the kitchen, get a plate, and find room. It's automatic.
We're at a point where my kids, if there's a couple of weeks where we don't have Hashevaynu guests, as we call them, they're upset. I mean, why is it so boring in the house on Shabbos? There's a certain excitement that somebody who made a decision that we take for granted brings to the house, brings to a Shabbos, brings to a conversation, brings to Yiddishkeit. It really ignites your own Yiddishkeit, and it's a tremendous feeling. It's a tremendous chus. And I feel like very often we have guests in the house for Shabbos, and when they leave, they're always thanking us. Oh, thank you. It was so nice to stay here. The food was great. And I sit there thinking, like, I should be thanking you, because the food cost me a few dollars, but what you gave me was worth more than that.
Every Shabbos we have a program going. There's no Shabbos of the year, 52 Shabbosim of the year. There's something happening at Hashevaynu. People don't always realize that the guy sitting next to you in shul or the girl sitting next to you in shul has no place to go. It's an assumption they have somewhere to go. But in reality, they don't always have somewhere to go. We found that out. And therefore, they know they can call the office, or the office will be in touch with them to say, you have a place for Shabbos? No? Where would you like to go? Flatbush, Muncie, Queens? And we'll put them there.
I have met some of the most incredible people since I started working for Hashevaynu. They are just, they've overcome amazing obstacles. Their soul is so pure.
She empathizes with Baalei Tshuva. She understands where we're coming from and what the ideal is, and she tries to bridge the two. Chani Brum really does lose sleep over people. She really does want the right thing to come out. And it's nice to work with someone who ultimately cares about my best interests. She's not only served as a shadchan, but she's also served as a coach.
When I go to a wedding shidduch that I've made, it's just the most incredible feeling in the world. You look at these people and you think, where were they 5 years ago? And look where they are right now. They're walking down the aisle. They're glowing. They have their entire life ahead of them. They're going to have Jewish kids who are going to go to yeshiva. It's just a remarkable thing.
Because of Hashevaynu, for the first time in my family, there are now two, Kenana and Mitzvah Shem, a third, from birth Jew, born into my family, and that's because of Hashevaynu.
When they come and they bring their kids, they bring the kids, like people with my grandchildren, when they bring their babies, and I see these little kids crawling on the floor, and I know that these babies are here because Hashevaynu was here, I'm gonna cry. It's amazing.
Hashevaynu made our vort. At the first retreat, we had Haaretz Afraf. They gave us our Kala and Husn classes, our Sheva Brachas. They were always a part of, the beginning of our marriage, and they've been a part of our marriage since we've met them.
If you came into my office today, there are over 3,000 names of men and women that Hashevaynu isn't even able to get to. We're not even talking about trying to find more people. There are over 3,000 on my computer that we can't even get to because it's labor intensive.
You feel like when you write a check to Hashevaynu, you feel real results.
I think it's a great organization. It's an organization that spends the money wisely, that really makes a difference. For every dollar that we spend on Hashevaynu, we see tremendous, tremendous success.
What we could do with more funds, what we could do with more people getting involved, the sky's the limit.
I feel as though it is a real merit, a real schus, that I am the director of Hashevaynu. It's something that changed my life and the life of my family. And more than the Hashevaynu members get from us, we get from them.
I have this vision of Hashevaynu 40, 50 years from now, this big reunion, thousands of Jews running around, all Hashevaynu souls, because today, now, we are helping Hashevaynu, and Hashevaynu is saving hundreds and hundreds of neshamas, and each of those are going to have children and grandchildren to ultimately have that huge Hashevaynu family.
If I didn't have Hashevaynu and I was doing all this alone, I would be struggling right now.
Hashevaynu is like a lifeline that you can grab onto, and it pulls you against the stream.
I just want to express how grateful I am. I owe them my life right now.